What are we doing tonight?
Tonight, we make soap.
Really?
So let's talk about Fight Club and soap making. Soap is made through a process called saponification, which is the hydrolysis of fat by an alkali with the formation of soap and glycerol. So you need two things to make soap: triglycerides, which is going to be the main component of animal or vegetable fat, and lye, which is a metal hydroxide. It's called sodium hydroxide on any sort of bottle of it that you buy. You're going to want to make sure that you don't follow any recipes online that tell you to make soap out of Drano or Liquid Plumber. Those things are about 99% lye, but that other 1% is really harsh chemicals that you shouldn't be putting on your body. So only make soap with recipes that tell you to use 100% lye. That way it's safe for you. So next we're going to watch the clip from Fight Club with Tyler Durden explaining how to make soap. He's much better to look at and listen to than me telling you how to make soap. So I hope you enjoy that. And then when we're done watching Brad Pitt, we will talk about some things he got right and some things he got wrong.
To make soap, first we render fat.
The salt balance has to be just right, so the best fat for making soap comes from humans.
Wait, what is this place?
A liposuction clinic. Aha! Pay dirt. Richest, creamiest fat in the world. The fat of the land.
No!
Oh, God! Get another one.
As the fat renders, the tallow should float to the surface, like in Boy Scouts.
Hard to imagine you as a Boy Scout.
Keep stirring. Once the tallow hardens, you can skim off a layer of glycerin. If you were to add nitric acid, you got nitroglycerin. If you were then to add sodium nitrile, dash the sawdust, you got dynamite. Yeah, with enough soap, one could blow up just about anything.
Tyler was full of useful information.
Now, ancient peoples found their clothes got cleaner when they washed them at a certain point in the river. Do you know why?
No.
Because human sacrifices were once made on the hills above this river. Bodies burned, water seeped through the wood and ashes to create lye. This is lye, the crucial ingredient. Once it mixed with the melted fat of the bodies, a thick white soapy discharge crept into the river. Answer your hand, please.
What is this?
This is a chemical burn. It will hurt more than you've ever been burned, and you will have a scar.
What are you doing?
Guided meditation worked for cancer. It could work for this.
Stay with the pain. Don't shut this out.
No, God!
Look at your hand. The first soap was made from the ashes of heroes, like the first monkey shot into space. Without pain, without sacrifice, we would have nothing.
I tried not to think of the word serum or flesh.
Stop it! This is your pain. This is your burning hand. It's right here.
I'm going to my cave. I'm going to my cave. I'm going to find my power animal.
No! Don't deal with it the way those dead people do. Come on!
I get the point, okay,
No,
please?
what you're feeling is premature enlightenment. It's the greatest moment of your life, man, and you're off somewhere missing.
I am not.
Shut up. Our fathers were our models for God. If our fathers bailed, what does that tell you about God?
No, I don't.
Listen to me. You have to consider the possibility that God does not like you, never wanted you. In all probability, he hates you. This is not the worst thing that can happen.
It isn't.
We don't need him.
If we don't, I agree. I got it.
Fuck damnation, man. Fuck redemption. We are God's unwanted children. So be it.
Okay, so I
Listen! You can run water over your hand to make it worse, or look at me! Or you can use vinegar to neutralize the burn.
Please let me have it, please.
First, you have to give up. First, you have to know, not fear, know that someday you're gonna die.
You don't know how this feels.
It's only after we've lost everything that we're free to do anything. Congratulations. You're one step closer to hitting bottom.
So that was the really amazing scene from Fight Club. Really great little monologue there. We won't go into things about hitting rock bottom or anything like that and what constitutes being free, but he did get some things right about making soap. The ingredients are correct, and all of his the stuff that he was using to make it with were correct. You saw I was wearing goggles and gloves and had all of his, plastic containers there. The process is right. You have to render fat first. You have to mix it with lye. He burns poor Edward Norton with some lye and explains to him that in order to neutralize the burn happening to him, he has to pour vinegar on it, which probably isn't like an intuitive thing to reach for. If you are, being burned with lye, I think it's a natural reaction to want to run your hand under water. But a little chemistry 101, we should all know that acids neutralize bases. So you should have a lot of vinegar on hand if you're going to make soap, just in case you have a spill. The history of how we discovered soap was accurate. We, back in the day, used to burn people as human sacrifices to the various gods of the world. And ash would go into rivers, and people realized that if they cleaned their clothes in those rivers, that their stuff got clean. So that was all accurate. And let's talk about some things he got. He got a couple things wrong. It says that human fat is like the gold standard of making creamy, rich soap, which is not true. The best, you actually don't get a really good lather. So if you scrub your hands with a bar of soap and it doesn't get really foamy, then it's not very good. And if you use animal fat, you don't get really sudsy soap. You need to use a vegetable fat, so canola oil, olive oil, vegetable oil, coconut oil, which is what I used. And then his exclamation for making dynamite was mostly accurate, but when they were directing the movie, they decided to not tell you that you needed to add sulfuric acid to the nitroglycerin and sodium nitrile and sawdust to make dynamite. The author of the book Fight Club, Chuck Palahniuk, listed all that stuff out for you, so you could have found it out on your own, but the director didn't want kids to go out and make bombs. So I don't condone you going out and making dynamite. Please don't do that. That would not be good. So let's move on to our list. This is what we need. You need coconut oil, distilled water, lye. Like I said, 100% lye. I had to go to a hardware store to get it. Harry's Ace on Magazine was the first place I found it. Home Depot and Lowe's didn't have it. You're going to want essential oil, which you can get at Whole Foods. Or Rouse's, or any of the herb stores around town will have essential oils. It doesn't matter what fragrance you want, it won't change your soap at all. Just pick one that doesn't make you nauseous. Digital scale, glass bowl, and stainless steel pot. You want to use glass or stainless steel, or ceramic is fine. Plastic and aluminum are going to react with your soap making process. You're going to want a crock pot, because you're going to cook the soap in the crock pot. You're going to want a stick blender, a silicone spoon, or a spatula. You can use a wood spoon, but once you're done with it, you'll have to throw it away unless you want a designated soap making spoon, but who has one of those? wood porous, and so the lye is gonna, seep into the wood, and you're not gonna be able to get the lye out of there, and it won't be safe to use with food anymore. So make sure if you use a wooden spoon that you throw it away when you're done, or use a silicone spatula. A mold or a baking dish. I used a mold because I wanted some like pretty squares of soap, and then I used also a baking dish because this recipe makes a lot of soap, and I needed a really big pan to put it in while it was hardening. Rubber gloves, safety goggles, and a mask. You're going to want to make sure that those 3 things are safe to use with sodium hydroxide. The glove and the mask had a list of chemicals that were safe to use with those 2 things on the packaging. The mask, I just bought one that was good for chemical odors because I was going to be outside mixing the lye in the water. And I figured it was ventilated, and the mask would just help me in case like the wind blew in my direction a little bit. And then you're going to want vinegar, like we said, for neutralizing any burns that happen. And then you're also going to want to fill up your sink with vinegar because anything that you use in making soap has to get soaked in vinegar before you wash it in the dishwasher. Otherwise, there could still be some lye residue on it. And then there's a full recipe at the end of this presentation. It's about 3 slides full of instructions if you're interested. It's just really long and detailed, and I didn't feel like talking about it all. So you can take a look at that. It was pretty easy to make. It was fun to make. Everyone in my family is getting them for Christmas presents this year. And oh, be careful when you add your lye to your oil that they're relatively the same temperature when you mix them. Otherwise, the soap will blow up in your crock pot and like make a volcano of soap all over your counter. So next are a few slides of me making soap and some awesome music by the Pixies. So I hope you enjoy it. Thank you.
Stop.
With your feet on the air, your head on the ground. Try